What is nervous system regulation really? Let's begin and just talk about why it's important. And as we go into this video, we're going to approach nervous system regulation a little bit differently than what you might have heard before. Often you'll hear about all different states of your nervous system: fight, flight, and freeze, and parasympathetic and sympathetic states. And we talk about it too. And it's helpful for a little bit of language around these things. But at the end of the day, when we're talking about nervous system regulation, what we're really talking about is the experience of overwhelm, the experience of stress, the experience of feeling stuck in a particular state. So you might be experiencing these things, particularly if you've got any sort of chronic condition where you've had something that's happening repeatedly. It can build a state of mind that I'm going to be stuck like this forever. And that then keeps the nervous system in this fear mode. It keeps you in self-protection mode. It keeps you in modes where you're hyper attuned to looking for safety and looking for risk. All of these things cause dysregulation, cause stress, and cause the deterioration of all of the functions in your body and health. Now, this is why understanding what nervous system regulation is and how to go about it is important, because if you're not aware of this, you become a victim to your experience. So let's dive in, shall we, Marcus?
Yeah, let's go. Before this word was even popular on social media, I was not aware of that I'm practicing nervous system regulation. It was more like, oh, I practiced some meditative movement and did some breathing practices and slow movements and all that stuff just to help my body to come back into a more natural and balanced state, because years of struggles personally in a personal life situation and in my old job, and years of sports just left their wounds in my system. And then I just started to, in a way, feeling myself on a deeper level, feeling my body on a deeper level. And this already changed so much, and I was not aware of fight or flight or rest or digest. It was just a practice to help myself to come back to a more relaxed state. And this not just as a exercise where I was able to relax when I'm doing this thing, but I realized pretty quick after 3 or 4 months practicing, oh, this transfers to many parts of my life.
Mm.
Yeah, this was my start. And yeah, in a way, it's just coming back to a balanced state where we feel the body is able to go through these challenges without getting harmed or without getting stuck.
A common thing that I see people bump into when going through the process of healing and regulating the nervous system is getting stuck in, they think it's just one state, like it's about calming my nervous system.
Yeah, that's true.
And that often causes way more stress, because it's ignoring what the nervous system's actually signaling and then trying to force another state over the top. And you can insert any word here: calm, relax, heal, ease,
Yeah.
de-stress, any of those things. And you mentioned something which really suggests a clue as to how we go about it, which is through feeling. But that can also be quite challenging, particularly if we've been living in our head for a long time, as a self-protective mechanism to protect us from feeling things when they were overwhelming.
Yeah.
And yeah, so then the cycle of dysregulation can be like, feel something, get overwhelmed, have some sort of coping protective mechanism to then find some reprieve from that, and then repeat the cycle. And we kind of go through this yo-yo of like overwhelm, 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 and then like cope to regulate. What we're talking about here is very different. It's not being reactive to dysregulation as a problem to be solved, which is often how nervous system regulation is approached that I see. And as I work with a lot of people, and I think you're the same too, Marcus, it's we're
Yeah.
trying to solve the problem by looking at the problem, which then creates more of the problem.
Yeah.
So like the problem being, I'm dysregulated, I'm stressed, I want to be regulated, so then do more things to then get that. I want to break it down and make it really simple so that then more people can actually find a path where they can regulate consciously and not keep getting stuck in those loops and ups and downs. And what I've found after the last really over 20 years of observation and working with like thousands of people's bodies, seeing what causes this dysregulation, I found there's really one core thing that tends to happen. I'm going to make it really simple. It doesn't mean that it's always easy, because it is a process of awareness, of getting to know yourself, getting to know how you interact with your body, with your environment, with the world around you, with your whole sense of self. There's a lot here to unpack, and this is why it's such a beautiful process of healing and restoring a sense of wholeness, as we move through the world. And so there's 3 layers that tend to happen. And if these 3 layers are happening all at the same time and you are attached to all of them, it's very easy to get dysregulated. So I'll play it out. So first, and this can happen in different order, but there's something happening in our physical body. We all have a physical body, and we all have sensations that are associated with our physical body. So let's say you feel a sensation, you feel tense, you feel something, and then that triggers a fear, and that then causes your breathing to become restricted. So then you've got not only a tense body, but then fear and maybe frustration and anger about, why is this happening to me? And then more fear about, is this ever going to change? And then your breathing keeps restricting, and that takes away your life force in your body, your energy levels drop, then you're more susceptible to dysregulation. On and on that can go. I've personally been there, and I felt very stuck in that for a long time because I wasn't aware of these 3 layers, and I thought that all of these things are happening to me and it's never going to change. Here's how we break the cycle. First, we see that these things are just happening in your experience. There's nothing wrong with them, and there is nothing wrong with you, which often, like, these core beliefs that are there that cause us to go into this fear state. You see that these experiences are completely valid. They're not just present for you likely, they're compounded over many accumulated experiences, and then you have a like experience, and that's why it can get so big when we get triggered so fast. So here's how we create some space. First, we see our physical experience. Just pay attention now as you're here. I might even be triggering you as I'm talking. I'm sorry, by the way. I really am. And it's okay to be triggered, because it's pressing on something within us, right? This is how we break the cycle. So we see what's happening at the physical body. What do we notice in our physical body? What do we notice in the sensations? And just practice just looking at that. I notice tension in different places. I notice maybe different temperature in different places. I notice that some areas might feel free and spacious. Other areas may feel stuck and tense and tight and stiff. And then don't go any further. Just notice that. Your mind may want to then attach to them feeling about that and all of that sort of stuff. We'll get to that. First, we look at that. Okay, see these things as signals. They're indications of something. I'll give an example. Let's say go to the gym and I lift some weights, and I'm not aware that lifting weights can cause my muscles to break down so that then they can rebuild and become stronger. So then perhaps as I rebuild, I've stimulated my nervous system so that then I could lift some more weights. Let's say though, I saw that signal as muscle soreness, as I've injured myself. This perception of the signal, we can see that there's a distortion rather than, okay, there is muscle soreness, and that's it. We then quickly go into, this means that, and that is, this is where the dysregulation starts. So first, there is muscle soreness. Then as we're noticing this experience, then notice the more subtle experience of the body, the breath. Don't have to do anything with the breath. Just notice it moving in and out of your body. Notice it moving through your body. The breath illuminates the body. So how is it moving through the body? Again, notice the signals. My breath feels short. My breath feels shallow. Maybe my breath feels deep. Whatever it is, see it as a signal. You can observe this signal and be safe observing the signal, as long as you're not attaching to it defining who you are. The 3rd layer, the mental emotional layer. what thoughts and emotions are here right now. And as you're practicing this, practice. So let's go back to that muscle soreness example. And I believed, right? This is where I'm accessing. I might see a belief. I believe that I've hurt myself. Maybe that's true. Maybe that's not true. Maybe you don't have all the information if it's the first time you've experienced something. So maybe you need some more time to observe it, to know what it is that you're actually observing. But what you can say is, I feel this. I feel scared. Or there is fear, right? What we're not doing is then defining, labeling ourselves. I am scared and there's something wrong with my body, or I am afraid that I hurt myself and then I'm not going to be able to work, and then I might lose my job and I'll have no money and then I'll die. That's an example of catastrophizing, right? A very good way, again, to dysregulate ourselves.
It's especially difficult when there are tensions hanging around for several weeks, months, or years that we really get hooked up by these tensions, and then the cycle starts going with, yeah, what you mentioned is this tension, why is this coming back, and what I'm doing wrong, and is this ever getting better, am I able to do XYZ anymore? And yeah, with this it just intensifies. And then just having the tool you were sharing, like, oh, there's just tension happening, can already bring some awareness and already some space for regulation in that moment and breaking the cycle.
So you can keep applying this, and why this is really useful is that we don't have to go on a meditation retreat. We don't even have to meditate if you don't want to. Great practice. But it's not like you need to meditate to regulate. It's not like you need to do all of these different things. They can definitely help your body go through a process of rejuvenation. They can definitely help your mind become aware of what is happening. But really at the core, there's these three layers of your experience, and the more aware you become of it, and the less you attach the I am or the I am not to the experience, then the more space you create. See, the biggest thing that I find dysregulates us is when we believe that we are stuck, that we are victim to our experience, which is at the core of a lot of dysregulation. Now, that's not actually true. I'm going to say something that might stretch your mind. It may even be controversial. You can reflect on this and determine your own truth in this. But the way I see it is that you are not your identity. Identity is a tool, it's something that we can, if I want to be a happy person, I can just be a happy person. If I want to be a mean person, I can just be a mean person. We all have the capacity for all of these things, but we get patternized and habituated into, I am Benny, and I am a man, and I am an Australian, and I am all of these things. They're just layers of identity, and they're tools. The more I then hold on to them, then the more I am mastered by them. So here's the challenge, is that I see ourself as just pure awareness. When you can look at it this way, you no longer live as the projection of awareness, you live as awareness itself. You are the thing that I can't really put words to, that projects out your experience based upon your perceptions. So then you start to see the awareness that's creating the experience. And this is then where we create space, and you realize that all of the things that I feel, all of the experiences I go through exist by the way that I relate with it, by the way that I interact with it, all of the people that I interact with. I only exist. Imagine this for a moment. There were no other people. You didn't know any other people. Then what are you? These are perhaps some big questions, and you may not have been expecting to be asked these questions in a video that's about what is nervous system regulation. And maybe I didn't even expect to share this, but it's at a deeper core. If you can start to continue to see these experiences are happening, but I'm not defined by them. What am I? Who am I? That's when things start to get really interesting. That's when you start to get a choice as to who are you showing up as right now, and how is that contributing to the way you're perceiving this experience. This is very deep work, because we have inherited a lot of conditioned beliefs about who it is that we are. And I'm here to challenge all of that so you can discover who you actually are. And then when you realize that, then all of these environmental circumstances that are triggering you, that are dysregulating you, no longer have power. You realize, oh, okay, yes, I could be that. And then I can learn, made a mistake, and I can improve rather than I'm not that. I'm going to push that away, and that's going to cause all of this activity and reaction within my system that dysregulates me. So this is a big journey. It's relevant because it applies to every area of our life, because we're going to continue to move through a process of change and be challenged and stretched and grow. And either that can crush us, or we can create a bit of space and actually thrive and move forward into the unknown together. There's my vision.
Yeah, and what you shared in your words, maybe for those who are more into analytics, it's exactly the neuroscience showing us this, what you described. The self-image is just a part of our brain where all the things are stored, and the nervous system is wired in this self-image. And there is another part of the brain who is able to watch this self-image and challenging it and asking questions if this is really me. And the more we are practicing it, the more this self-image starts to soften and starts to adapt and getting flexible again. And this is what is called neuroplasticity. And this is, you can do that your whole life. So the nervous system has the capacity to change until your last breath. So this is not a thing of age. It's just going on this journey and giving the nervous system the ability to do that. And your life will get easier. It's simple, but not always easy. But in long term, it will get a more fulfilling experience to walk on this earth, no matter what you're doing. And yeah.
So I hope that this has been helpful if you are interested in learning more about what nervous system regulation really is at a core level, and how you can continue to forward and perhaps heal from these experiences that you may be holding, especially holding in your body. And so we're on a pathway to be free of that, to break the patterns that are imprisoning us into this living in a box. I'd like to support as many people as I can to open that box and open up to newness in life, rather than just going through the motions, stuck in this safe little bubble. I really believe that we are more than that. And understanding nervous system regulation is a really powerful step to being able to navigate life more consciously. So if you'd like help on that process, of course, we're here. We've got heaps of videos on the channel, and also we support through coaching and Inside Mover Plus. So look forward to seeing you in any of those spaces. Thanks for being here with us. See you again next time.
Bye.